Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty Modern Warfare video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to aim better and improve your accuracy in Modern Warfare. Aim has always been super duper important in Call of Duty because it is a twitch shooter, but I think it's more important than ever this year for the fact that the time to kill in this game is absolutely so quick. If you're not snapping onto targets quickly or getting that first shot in, it can cost you so many gunfights in this game. You can't really recover or turn on players as easily because of the fact that you just die so quick compared to not necessarily all the previous CODs. This is more comparable to COD Ghost, but definitely compared to Black Ops 4, which we played last, you die way quicker in this game. And the other aspect is ground war, 32v32, where gunfights now, you're taking on some battlefield gunfights in Call of Duty. You might be looking up 50 stories and up into a skyscraper trying to shoot a guy down with an ACOG scope, which is completely different experience than we've had from pretty much anything in Call of Duty's past. So it's important to talk about and cover this stuff. We're going to talk about settings. We're going to talk about optics a little bit. We're going to talk about attachments that can help you out, and also just in-game movements and how to improve your accuracy and actual focusing in-game stuff you should pay attention to. So all this stuff should help you guys out. Try to get through it as much as I can and give as much detail to help you all out. Drop a like on this video if you guys could. I would very much appreciate that. Let's go ahead and go for 972 likes. If we could hit that, that would be absolutely incredible. Support has just been amazing. So thank you everyone. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel and not already subscribed. And let's go ahead and get right into this. Now, first of all, let's start off with settings, because settings is the most, probably the most important thing, or the thing that people think of first when it comes down to aiming. And I made a video talking about my full settings, which you should check out on my channel. I uploaded that yesterday. But in this video, we're going to talk about some specific settings, not necessarily dive deep into the sensitivity, because I did that in my other video, and maybe I'll make a future one going even more in depth into sensitivity. But we're going to talk about the aim response curve type, your aim assist, and controller vibration. Then we're going to get into some attachments and then some more in-game tips. So first of all, this game has some really custom settings. Your sensitivity goes up to 20. I rock with a 6 and a 6 sensitivity. Personally, I use a slowdowns as well. Another important thing is these slowdown sensitivities, which is something that we've had, I know it mostly from Fortnite. You know, you're slowing down as you're aiming in, and this really important on, you basically have two options in Modern Warfare. One for slowing down when you're over, I think it's a 3.25 times optical, and the other one for anything under that. And my slowdowns, personally, I rock with a 0.90 for anything under a 3.0 magnification, and then over that I go with a 0.80, and that's based off of my 6.6 sensitivity. That's what I use personally. If you want more in depth than that, you should check out my settings video. But a sensitivity is all, you know, personal preference. There's people that play on a 1 sensitivity and have good aim. I mean, maybe not. It's up to 20 now. I had a friend that played on a 1 sensitivity in Modern Warfare 3, which was just crazy. It was up to 10 back then. And I also had a friend in Modern Warfare 3 that played on a 10 sensitivity, and it looked like he had an aimbot. So, you know, sensitivity, it definitely can vary. But let's go ahead and talk about these settings. First of all, aim response curve type. I know a lot of people are definitely going to be thinking about this when it comes down to the settings. You have 3 options here: standard, linear, and dynamic. Now, I've tested these out a little bit, and I talked about it in my settings video. I did some research on Reddit as well, and personally, I obviously was rocking with standard, and I switched it over to linear, and I've been enjoying linear a lot better. It feels like it makes the game a little more smooth, or the movements on my thumbsticks a little bit more smooth when aiming. I'm not sure why that is. Obviously, linear, your aim stick maps directly to the aim rate, so your input is going to feel a tad bit more sensitive depending on how you move the stick compared to something like a standard. I think with this, honestly, I think a lot of people are going to stick to standard, and this won't really make a difference. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But I think you should give linear a try if you want to. If you feel like you want to have a little bit more ability to snap on targets or move directly to them. Personally, I've been rocking with linear, and I don't know if it's really improved my gameplay that much, but I have been enjoying it. I think the majority of players stick to either standard or linear with this, and honestly, this won't be like a game-breaking difference which one of these that you have. It's more of a getting used to and a preference, because it just depends on how much you move the thumbstick, how it reacts. So once you get used to it, it doesn't really matter what your setting is for this, but personally, I go with linear. Next is aim assist. Now, they never really gave us options for aim assist before in Call of Duty, and with great power comes great responsibility. Now, disabled aim assist, stay away from that. You want to have aim assist if you're on controller. Next, your options are going to be standard, precision, and focusing. Now, I did some testing with this. This is something that's super important, I think. Obviously, aim assist. Now, focusing, I guess it can be good if you're very, like I guess if you're, it says it's for more of a beginner player or new to analog aiming. Maybe there's some good players that use this out there. I'm not really sure, honestly. If you do, go ahead and leave it in the comment section down below. Personally, focusing, when I tested that out, it really wasn't for me. It slows you down an extreme amount around the target, but it's it's not like a snap-on, it's just a slowdown. So it's, you know, it's not like you're snapping onto them like when you're playing COD Zombies. It's just a hella slowdown. So I guess that might be good if you have an extreme sensitivity, or maybe you're new to aiming with thumbsticks. Next options are either standard or precision. Now, precision gives you a strong aim slowdown that only kicks in when aiming closer to a target, best for accurate players. And I gave this one a go. I did play with this for a little bit in definitely custom games. I got like hundreds of kills with it, and then I played with it in some real games as well. But I ended up going back to the standard and the traditional aim slowdown near target. I found that the precision was nice, but you have to be a bit closer to them to get that slowdown. And honestly, with the a range of gunfights like I talked about earlier, you could be fighting someone across the map and right next to you. I find that standard just works better, even for, I mean, personally, I don't know. For me, it works better, and I think most good players are sticking to either standard or precision. Precision can help you a lot in those closer gunfights where your aim is no problem, and it can help you snap like that, I guess you could say. But standard, I think, for those longer range stuff, especially with, you know, some of these fights you're taking in ground war or even 10v10s, I think that was really important, and that's what I rock with. Next is the vibration. Personally, I play with controller vibration off. I think this can be a big deal if it does affect your aim. If your controller shaking as you're aiming, it can't really help you out. I used to play with vibration all the time, but I switched probably like 6 or 7 years ago. Everyone was telling me to switch. I was ignoring them. I switched, and I've loved it ever since. So that's what we have as far as settings. Next, what do we have as far as attachments? Now, if you're taking on long-range gunfights, what attachments do you want to pay attention to? First of all, the optics. Every weapon in this game has like 20 optics or something like that, and obviously this game came out like a day ago or 2 days ago. I don't know everything about every optic here to sit and tell you use this one or use that one. Optics really depend on two things: personal preference and the line of sight that you're taking on. That's really all that matters. If you're taking on a player at medium range, you probably don't want to have the 8x1,000,000 zoom hybrid scope. You probably just want an iron sight default sight or a red dot sight. If you're playing and trying to pick people off way across the map, then you probably want a scope like that. The longer range gunfights, the stuff that you want to focus on more would be those optics, and then attachments that give you, because the attachments in this game, they give you pluses and minuses, right? So you don't really just get, I mean, some of them you just get something for free, but the majority you get something and then you lose something. Kind of like how the cards worked on the weapon variants in AW. I guess that's what rings a bell with most if people have played COD for, if you've been a fan of COD for a long time. But that's basically how it works. You know, you might have plus on the recoil control, but then negative on the movement speed. So recoil control and stability are very important on those long-range gunfights. On close-range maps or close-range gunfights, not nearly as important unless you're using a weapon that has insane recoil, but those things are actually very important. That's why you see so many options with stability in these settings. It really is to do with, I think, the fact that these maps are so open, and that, you know, stability will be a good thing if you're trying to aim down with a M4 ACOG scope across the map or something like that. On the other hand of that, close-range gunfights, ADS speeds and your strafe speeds are very important on that side of things, because you want to be able to aim down sights fast, to be strafing back and forth, so you can basically keep your aim on the enemy while also, you know, maneuvering a little bit, and especially close range, because you can't really sprint close range. The footsteps are so damn loud in this game. You kind of have to take it slow and aim down sights around corners or use your strafe. The other thing is the lasers. Lasers help your hip fire only, pretty much. At least, you know, most of the lasers, and those are, I found that on ARs, even with that hip fire laser, it's just trash. It's just trash, the hip fire. I was testing on the M4, but I think with the SMGs, I mean, it's something that is going to be useful. It's something that you unlock early, so you might as well slap it on and use it, right? Be selective about what you give up. Notice which weapons you need recoil help and which you don't. So if you might be using an M4 on a small map, or a Kilo on a small map, you probably don't need recoil help. If you're using it with ACOG, with the weapon that has a little bit of bounce, and you're playing on that map with a bridge, yeah, you might want to use something to control your recoil a little bit. And that's why in these gameplays, I try to show just random gameplays of me fighting people at all sorts of different distances, just, you know, stick with the topic. Next is Muzzle Flash concealment. Now, this is something that's available on a lot of weapons, and it basically, you have to lose your barrel velocity, but you get Muzzle Flash concealment, and that's supposed to be like when you're shooting out of the gun, all the stuff, you know, is flying out, the little sparks or whatever you want to, whatever, it looks like sparks on the screen, apparently, right? That is the muzzle flash of a gun, right? I'm not a gun expert at all, but I think I got it right. That's the simplest way to explain it. Now, muzzle flash concealment, it's supposed to have less of that so you can keep your eyes on the target. Now, I tested this out in a private match, and I'll show the footage right now, and you can see these two clips right here. You can see one time I'm using it with the muzzle flash concealer and then without, and honestly, I don't know. Am I stupid? Am I blind? Or I don't really notice a difference, to be honest, and maybe it's different when you're shooting at players, but personally, that was one that I know people are going to ask about for aiming, and that's one that my gut has been telling me to stick away from that, and I think I might be right on that. It's probably not that useful, at least on the weapons that I was testing out with. So what categories of attachments really do have the good stuff you're looking for? The underbarrel and the rear grip. Those two categories are really going to be the ones you're going to look for. Scan those two categories on each weapon. Those are going to have the ones that are going to affect your stabilities, your recoil control, and there's available on other categories of attachments as well, but those two specifically will really help you out. And then if you're looking for hip fire, obviously laser would be the one to go with. Aim walking movement speed, that is another thing that I think is very important. If you want to have good aim in this game, the strafing back and forth, the stock is very slow. Aim walking movement speed, I love to have that on. I've always been someone that plays with stock. I find that I always have better accuracy when I'm comfortable aiming down sights and being prepared for fights and sort of letting the fight flow to me as I move slowly instead of just sprinting in blindly. Aim stability and aim walking steadiness as well. Like I said, aim stability, something more for longer ranges. Aim walking steadiness goes along with it's just how steady your gun is as you're strafing with the stock, which is a pretty big deal. Now, main thing for aiming, like I said, these are some attachments, some settings that can help you out. But in game, the map is a lot of head glitches and a lot of window peeking, and it really comes down to knowing where people are going to be and learning these maps. And in the past, learning maps was just, okay, they spawn here and they spawn here. Now learning maps is, oh, he's on the 8th floor in the 9th window. It's pretty complicated, but that really is going to be your best accuracy with the fast time to kill is knowing where people are going to peek. And if you're pre-aiming windows, the weapons kill so fast, it is very easy to just take people out like that. That's what I say with head glitches, with window peeking. The map design of this game really is made like that, and you kind of have to play into that and be pre-aiming where you think people are going to pop up. I mean, it is fairly predictable, especially the more and more you play, the more and more you'll learn. Pre-aiming those spots, and you can just snap on targets fairly easily. Next is sound. The sound and the footsteps are so damn loud in this game that you might be just running in and realizing, why does everyone have such good aim? Why are they snapping on me? You know, what's happening? And it's probably because they hear you coming, so they're prepared for that gunfight and aiming down sights beforehand. Listen for footsteps, and also don't give away your footsteps. You know, crouch walk or walk in slowly when you're going into buildings like that. Next, what else will help you to keep your aim is jump shotting and drop shotting in this game both work. Particularly with jump shotting, you want to be able to jump shot while keeping your fingers on the thumbstick so you can keep your aim on, and that's why personally I use a scuff controller. I think a lot of other Call of Duty players, Call of Duty Pro players use it. I've been using it for probably since 2012, MW3, and I'm sponsored by them. You can use code Goblin for a discount. They're controllers that cost like $150, I think. They're for PS4, and basically it allows you to have 2 paddles on the back. It's tournament legal. It's completely tournament legal, and you can jump with the left paddle, and then you can program them to what you want, depending on what you get. But I have mine where I jump with the left paddle on the back of my controller, and then with the right paddle, I use my melee. So what's amazing about jump shotting and being accurate and having good aim is I'm able to jump with that back paddle and still keep my right thumb on that right thumbstick, which is obviously the main part of aiming, right? And I don't have to move it over to click the A or X button, which allows you to be so much more accurate when jump shotting, and is another key to basically makes the enemy sort of miss their shots if I'm jump shotting, and also allows me to stay not necessarily perfectly accurate because my in-game character will be suffering from the jump shot, but my out-of-game character, my real-life body, won't be because I don't have to move my thumbs off of the thumbsticks. I will have that all ready to go, and it comes with practice. Link in the description there if you're interested in getting a scuff controller. It's just scuffgaming.com. You can use code Goblin for a discount. But yeah, hopefully these tips really did help you guys out. I think that having the right settings is important, but really it comes down to the class setup. If you want to improve your aim on this game, it comes down to being prepared for these gunfights, knowing the maps, knowing where to aim, instead of just guessing and try to snap on targets. By the time that happens, you will already be dead. Learning the maps is probably the most important thing in being ready for those gunfights. And then when it comes to attachments, make sure you're not wasting wasting on stuff that you don't really need, you know? I bet you there's going to be a lot of people decking guns out with like 3 grips and being like, I need this best accuracy. And in reality, the weapon had no recoil anyway. You know, you could have used that for other stuff. So don't be intimidated. Obviously, grip and recoil sound amazing in the settings, but think, you know, does this gun have recoil? How much will this help me? And especially pay attention to those pros and cons of the attachment to see, will this help, will this hurt me, or something like that. Hopefully this video did help you guys out, will help you guys improve your aim, know what to focus on in terms of settings, in terms of in-game, and in terms of the attachments and the class setups. Thanks for watching. Drop a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.